Imagine this: a billionaire, sitting quietly in the corner of a small café, witnesses something so humiliating, so unjust, it forever changes how he views the woman who once cleaned his floors. What started as a $5 date gone wrong soon became a lesson in dignity, courage, and the true worth of a human being. Stay with me until the end, because the final twist will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about class, respect, and love. Samantha had worked as a maid in the Reynolds mansion for nearly 3 years. She was quiet, diligent, and invisible in the way the rich often prefer their staff to be. What no one knew was that Samantha carried the weight of 2 jobs, sending every spare dollar to her younger brother in college. One Saturday evening, she allowed herself a rare luxury, a simple café date with a man she had met at the bus stop. His name was Eric, a warehouse worker. He wasn't wealthy, but he was kind, or so she thought. The café was small, the kind of place where the smell of brewed coffee mixed with laughter and music. They sat down at a corner table, and when the waitress arrived, Samantha suggested something light, coffee and a shared pastry. Eric laughed and sneered, "A $5 date, huh? Figures. That's about as much as you're worth." The words cut sharper than any blade. Heads turned. Laughter rippled through the café. Samantha's face burned, her hands trembling around the chipped mug. At another table, hidden behind the morning paper, sat Alexander Reynolds, the billionaire she worked for. He had come to the café to escape boardrooms and business calls, never expecting to see his maid humiliated in public. For the first time, Alexander saw Samantha not as the maid but as a woman, one with dignity, one who deserved more than the cruelty she was enduring. And he felt something stir inside him, shame for the blind privilege he lived in, and anger at the man across from her. But Samantha didn't cry. She stood, placed 2 wrinkled bills on the table, and said softly, "I may not be worth much to you, but my worth isn't measured by your wallet, or your words." With that, she left the café, her back straight, though her eyes glistened. Alexander sat frozen. In that moment, he knew his life was about to change. The next day, Alexander couldn't focus on anything. Board meetings, stock reports, phone calls, all blurred into noise. The image of Samantha's trembling hands and quiet courage replayed in his mind. For years, he had surrounded himself with luxury, but he realized he had never seen true strength until that night. That evening, he called Samantha into his office. She stood nervously, clutching her apron, expecting criticism for being spotted in public. Instead, Alexander asked, "Why didn't you defend yourself? Why walk away when you were mocked like that?" Her answer stunned him. "Because, sir, some battles aren't worth fighting. Dignity is louder in silence than in shouting. People who laugh at you aren't worth your tears." Alexander's chest tightened. This was wisdom money couldn't buy, and it came from the woman he had overlooked for years. From that day on, things began to shift. He asked Samantha for her opinions on household decisions. Then, small business matters. Slowly, he realized she had an incredible sense of people, choices, and fairness. Months later, Samantha wasn't just a maid, she had become his trusted advisor, his confidant, and, eventually, something more. But the true turning point came when Alexander hosted a lavish charity gala. Among the guests was Eric, the same man who had humiliated Samantha. When he saw her standing gracefully by Alexander's side, dressed not in a maid's uniform but in an elegant gown, his jaw dropped. Alexander raised his glass and announced to the crowd, "The strongest person in this room isn't the wealthiest. It's the woman who reminded me that dignity is worth more than money. Tonight, I honor Samantha." The room fell silent, then erupted in applause. Eric lowered his gaze in shame, while Samantha's eyes filled with tears, not of humiliation this time, but of pride. From that moment, Alexander's life truly was never the same. He learned that wealth wasn't in the billions he owned but in the courage, dignity, and love he found in the most unexpected person, his maid. This story isn't about money or power. It's about recognizing dignity, respect, and strength in people society often overlooks. Sometimes the people we ignore hold the very lessons that can change our lives forever.